welcome to this week's episode of the Anime Bros. We're going to be reviewing Yu Yu Hakusho. It's actually my favorite anime, and I got Christian to watch it for the first time. What are your thoughts on it, Christian?
Yo, it actually was pretty decent. For an anime that was created and ended before I was born, uh, that being like around 30 years ago, it was pretty good. Kind of lost me a little bit there in the middle, but talk about more about that later.
Well, we talk about it now. What lost you?
Oh, what do you mean? You were like obviously like the guy that was playing, I guess the detective before he was that part.
Sensui?
Yeah, I was it was all right, but the tournament before was definitely better.
The Dark Tournament with Taguro. They definitely like hyped it up a lot. There was a lot more battles going on, and then you kind of like they're leading it up to this ultimate battle against Taguro. But I actually feel like the fight against Sensui was better than the fight against Taguro. I thought so.
See that. I mean, I can
Not
definitely
not the not the build up. Like the build up was definitely way better in the dark tournament. You because you see all those one on one battles before. We'll definitely get into that tournament. But I thought there was a lot of amazing fights in that tournament. But then just like the main fight, if I'm comparing Yusuke versus Taguro and then Yusuke versus Sensui, I think I actually might like the Sensui fight better.
But see, I feel like the Sensei fight, I feel like was definitely a little bit longer than him fighting Tagoro. But I don't know. I like the buildup was so much for the fight that to me it kind of lived up to his expectations. I wasn't disappointed with that fight. Um, but I think with the Sensei fight, I felt like the buildup was trash.
Oh man.
Oh, no, it wasn't trash, but the buildup wasn't as good. Um, and therefore, even though the fight was pretty good, it just wasn't enough to put it over the first fight that he had with Tagoro.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like with all the different psychics, like I feel like that was definitely the weakest part of the show. But I thought there were still some cool aspects to it. I thought it was funny how they he went to the arcade that one time and was playing that goblin game, and then they kind of like brought it back and incorporated that was like the little kid's psychic power. They had to play the goblin game. I thought that was kind of funny.
They did have a good way of incorporating the powers into the story. Um, I mean, even right after the like tournament fight, he was like, "Oh, that guy was actually only a B class demon," and then you can still see that uh you can still see how like damn, I'm trying to think of where I'm going with this. It was you can still tell what they're trying to do, but I liked how they made it seem like Toguro was the strongest demon ever, and then afterwards they're like, actually he wasn't. Here are the stronger demons, but we have a good reason for it. So I even like the build up after the tournament that was pretty okay, but it was specifically with like Sensui's arc that didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like with all the psychics, I didn't really care too much for him like fighting the doctor and fighting all those other fight that one guy, Seaman. He like did the water stuff. I mean, that was definitely probably the weakest part of the show, but that didn't like. It's still probably my favorite anime just because that dark tournament. There's so many good fights in that tournament. Some of my favorites were when when he's fighting Zero. He's the guy that kind of looks like Guile from Street Fighter and an elf.
He does.
And he when he first uses the darkness flame, the dragon, and he just
Mm.
like that guy was actually kicking Hiei's ass a little bit. Like the guy he did the heat attack with the he could like make things heat up or whatever and like shoot out flames or something. Yeah, he was
Mm-hmm.
actually like kicking Hiei's ass a little bit, and then Hiei had to like bust out that attack and incinerate him against the wall.
Yeah, that was kind of tough. I think out of the group of fights during that dark tournament, I want to say EA's were kind of my favorite, um, collectively out of all the fights they had set up.
Yeah, he fought Zero, and then like he was actually out for the next two rounds because him and Kurama were like fighting these guys in the forest. They like weren't part of that, and then for one of them, he was like in that electric force field.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so
Um,
yeah, he actually missed like the next two rounds, and then he ended up fighting in the semifinals. He like fought that guy that had all the different beast armor.
yeah, exactly. See, I actually really enjoyed that fight. I think that was one of the best fights they had in the tournament.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. My first time, I've seen this three times, twice all the way through, but I've seen the Dark Tournament three times. And
Mhm.
Hiei was definitely my favorite fighter, like the first time watching it. But then the more I watch it, I'm kind of like getting behind Kurama a little bit. He's just fucking people up with a whip.
He he was. I mean, I was also thinking of Karama as like my favorite line of fights, but I did like the build up when they introduced him as like when that dude tried to reverse his age and accidentally like reversed him back to the demon. I did like the build up for that. That was pretty interesting. Um, but I
He,
didn't like really like the one where the guy was pretending to be a bad guy in order to like take advantage of how nice Kurama was.
that was like yeah, that was like
And
that first team he fought. But he ended up like slaughtering that guy.
yeah, he did. I was like, damn, you got to stoop that low. Like, come
Yeah,
on now.
yeah, he mopped that guy. And then one of my favorite fights is always gonna be the finals when he's fighting Karasu.
Oh
Because
yeah,
Kurama was actually like kind of scared of that guy, and I was like, "Damn, dude, Kurama, you got to rise up and fight this dude."
yeah, he had a good reason to be scared of him.
Yeah, that guy was pretty powerful.
But hey, he was able to pull it through. I did like his line of fights was pretty good. Um, Kuwabara, I still think he's a funny guy to me. It was just that his line of fights was clearly a tier below the rest of them, for me at least.
I honestly don't know how he won. He was fighting like when they were fighting that ninja set.
Mhm.
Uh, he ended up taking on the supposed strongest ninja out of the whole group.
Yeah, it's it's very funny though because my during his fights, I was like, okay, they're pretty cool, they're all right. But every time the round was over, it did leave me with a feeling of like, yo, how did he win? Like he definitely should not have won, but somehow something like kind of worked in his favor that allowed him to get the victory.
I think that was the only one. Well, he somehow beat the Elder Toguro. Like he lost the easy ones, and then he beat like the toughest guys. Because when they were fighting the ninjas, they were kind of like hyping it up, like Jin, the Wind guy,
Mhm.
the red hair. They were like him versus Yusuke. They were hyping that up like that's like the main fight of that round. But then they're like, oh no, this other guy, he's the strongest ninja, and then Kuwabara fights him and Kuwabara like smashed him. He like saw Yukina in the stands, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta win in front of my girl," and then he just like smashed that guy.
Yeah, he did. Like that was the thing though. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he was like, "All right, bet I'm taking the strongest guy down." I now
His
have
girl was watching. He's like, I can't get my ass kicked in front of my girl."
two, but like it was. I did like that dynamic because she clearly didn't pick up any of the clues he was laying down. So I thought that was pretty funny. Um,
uh,
how did
she might have. I don't know. She wasn't getting with anyone else, so that
yeah,
that
but
might have that might have just been her personality for Yukina.
yeah, well, I mean, her personality was like just not knowing what's going on, so she didn't actually believe me. She wasn't taking what he was saying like literally, so it was kind of like rolling off on her.
I don't know. I feel like they didn't go that in depth in it. I'll have to see what happens in the manga. Cause they said in the show at the end of the show he was always going to Genkai's house to see her.
Oh
So
yeah, that's true.
I
I
don't, I
mean,
don't know.
it does
I don't know if they were
imply,
fooling around or not.
I think they implied that like it was kind of mutual, but she was still like airheaded, if that's the correct word.
I don't know if she was that dumb. I just feel like Kubar was spitting some dumb lines and she was just like laughing at him or like scoffing.
No, I don't know. There was definitely some dialogue in there where I was just like, I mean, he's clearly trying to make a move to her, and she's clearly not understanding what he's trying to do.
Yeah, she just thought he was being silly.
Exactly. See, so
But I feel like it had the effect he wanted. I feel like he still won her over.
yes and no. Like, I think he definitely like won her over by being silly, but it was just that like he was. he was definitely like super romantic, forward, and direct, and she was just kind of like not reacting how everyone else would react to that line, if I should say that.
Yeah, but she didn't reject him, so I feel like I mean he was still he was I feel like Kuwabara was still satisfied with the result.
Yeah, like okay, yeah, he won by like a no contest basically. Like she didn't reject him, but there was also no other guy directly hitting on her either.
Yeah,
So she probably wouldn't have rejected nobody.
yeah. It seemed like the girls in the show were like the direct source of power for Kuwabara and Yusuke. Like whenever Yusuke is seeing like Keiko or thinking about Keiko, he just like ascends to the next level.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the show was trying to tell you something, man. They're like, if you want to look for that secret power from within,
Yeah,
but
dude,
hey,
he was getting smacked back and forth by Yomi in the last tournament. He was like just completely out of it, and then he's like, "Oh shit, that's right, Keiko," and then he starts fighting him.
that was kind of weird because like it was like, okay, this dude set up this entire tournament, fought through multiple rounds. All of a sudden, he just loses the will to fight out of like nowhere in the middle of the fight. Come on now. It would have been cool if it was an overnight thing. He woke up the next morning. He was like, actually, you know what? I don't feel like fighting. No, this dude is in the middle of the fight to the death, basically, unless your enemy has some sympathy for you. And he just loses his will to fight. I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, I feel like he wasn't trying to become like the Lord of Demon World, so
Oh, he definitely.
he kind of realized that halfway through the fight. He's like, "Wait, I'm not even like trying to win."
Yeah,
I think his end goal was he was just trying to like restore balance.
that can definitely be his end goal. But I'm just saying that like him realizing that he wasn't even trying to win doesn't mean he should just quit in the middle of the match and like not do anything. Like still you can still put up a good match, maybe lose a close one, or like maybe switch a sparring mode. No, this dude went lifeless and start taking a beat down for no reason.
Well, because Yusuke usually is like in most of his fights, he starts off like kind of getting his ass kicked, and then he like gets real emotional and ascends to the next level. And then just when he was fighting Yomi, he's like he didn't know what to get emotional about. He's like, why am I even doing this? He's trying to restore like balance to Demon World, I guess. But then he's like, but is that worth giving up my life? And he didn't think it was worth giving up his life for. And then he's like, oh shit, but it's worth giving up my life to try and get back to Keiko. And then he realized.
I think that's a reach. I think that's a reach, Your Honor.
I feel like that's what happened though. Whether it made sense or not, I feel like that's what happened though. I think
I
what
think
you're saying is like I don't get why that's the way it happened, but that's what happened. So I don't think it's a reach.
it
It's the way it played out.
is the way it played out. but I feel like was that the only time where he lost his reason to fight in the middle of the battle? Is that how he always is going to react when he's like, damn, I don't really know why I'm fighting anymore, and then he just quits. He
I
just
feel like
quits.
that kind of happened when he was fighting Suzaku. That was the name of the guy with the demon flute. It was
Mm.
like his first mission when he went to the he was fighting all the Saint Beasts.
Oh, I can't remember the same piece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the guy who was fighting, he like made a bunch of clones of himself, and he him and the parrot were fighting him. He had the demon flute with all the Makai insects.
I mean, it's kind
He was getting his ass kicked like pretty badly, and he was getting like electrocuted, not really fighting back. And then he like saw Keiko on the screen, and he was like, "Oh shit, gotta ascend for Keiko."
he did, but like he wasn't like, oh shit, there's no point to fight this demon flu guy anymore. He was getting his ass kicked. So he was just like, okay, how am I gonna get enough power in order to win this fight? In
Yeah,
this turn, he just gave up on life. According to you, he said, what am I even fighting this tournament for? I don't think it's worth risking my life to balance out the demon world. So he just gives up his life by getting pummeled in the fight. That's not add enough.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to justify.
Like,
I kind of agree with you. I'm just telling you what happened.
yeah, that's. I mean, it wasn't too much of a negative. I was just like, I mean, there was a plethora of other things he could have done before he willingly let himself get punched in the face repeatedly, until he found his will to fight again. That's all I'm saying. You know, could have quit. He could have ended the match himself. He could have just like fought a losing match by getting at least trying to defend himself. But he went from like 300 to zero. We shouldn't do that over. We shouldn't do that over here.
Was there a certain squad that you liked the most out of the three most powerful demons at the end?
Not really. Actually, I was. They were kind of forgettable. Um,
That part of the show actually, I mean, that was one of my favorite parts of the show, but it was actually only like maybe 20 episodes. It like wasn't a huge chunk.
yeah, I would say I like the one Hiei was under.
Makuro, the
Yeah,
girl.
I would say out of the three of them, I liked them the most. Um, the dude that Kurama was under, I can't remember his name.
Yomi.
Yeah, I mean that dude was like carrying like a 20-year grudge. I was like, you really calling him back to the demon world just to be like, yeah, fuck you. This is
It, it was probably it was hundreds of years probably.
I forgot it was different. But I was like, come on now. That one was kind of ridiculous. And then obviously we know how whatchamacallit, Yusuke's boss guy was.
Ryzen, his dad,
Right.
or his ancestral dad, or whatever.
Yeah, that one was kind of weird too, how they kind of threw that in there.
It was
Um
like a recessive gene, dude. It just got passed down, but it was recessive gene, and then it just emerged.
yeah, that was a mighty ancestral red or light, whatever they call that. Did I mean we're talking about like the dude's been living, or he hasn't eaten a human in a thousand years, so he was alive so much longer than even that. All of a sudden, Yusuke just comes out the cut being related to this guy, coming out of the cut. One of the three strongest demons in Demon World after he magically became a spirit detector. I
Okay, it
mean,
kind of explains why he was so strong all along.
dude, my dude Korobara had a sword that can slice dimensions. Uh, like,
I'm sorry that's your boy. He was kind of like the biggest scrub in the show.
no, he was not the biggest scrub of the show. Uh, but we're talking about, yeah, dude. We're talking about actually what was Yusuke's like big huge attack besides the spirit gun?
You had the spirit wave. You had that like shotgun thing.
Okay, well, like I'm talking about they were just different iterations of his spirit gun, weren't they?
What was Kuwabara's different thing other than his sword?
Dude, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. This dude had a spirit gun, right? My dude Korobara had a sword to slice through dimensions. Like
Yeah.
through dimensions, man. I don't know. Do you understand how powerful?
Yusuke did this attack on this the psychic dude who could read people's minds, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna throw a straight jab at you," and he like threw the jab and stopped short, and then just the force of his punch like threw the guy against the wall.
That was all right. When I was watching it, that was cool. Korobara can slice through dimensions. If we line up this team's like power levels, dimension slicer. I don't know how you can get like much better than that. But then you got Kurama.
Makuro had a better attack than that when she was fighting Hiei. She like sliced space and time completely, and then ended up like ensnaring Hiei in like a cage because she kept like slicing space.
Exactly. That's another person. So we're talking about like you have that time space cunning thing.
Well, she was
Um,
like probably the strongest person in the show.
wait. But possibly I can give you that one. But wait, we got my homeboy slicing through dimensions. What was Kurama's like demon thing? Uh,
Demon Yoko Kurama, the fox.
yeah, but what could the fox do? The fox was like
He was just badass. He was just a strong demon.
everybody was scared of this guy, and he obviously had a reputation, and you did not want to get in a fight with this guy. Yeah, the dude's a fucking demon, like legendary demon. Then we got Hiei, who yeah, dude, I mean this dude is calling dragons out of his arm, uh, to like destroy people.
Yeah,
So
but Yusuke beat Hiei's ass every time they fought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a classic like Goku Vegeta. Like there's no way without the writing of the show that my dude Yusuke is beating Hiei when the motherfucker can call out dragons of flame out of his arms to like mop everybody and take him up. Like
Yusuke,
let,
Yusuke beat him both times.
yeah, no, by the writing. This dude has like a spirit gun. So let's look at the power of these teams. We got the spirit gun, which can like you can throw out spirit shotgun, or you have like maybe like the spirit lasso of truth, whatever like the spirit wave, whatever you want to call that. This
It's
dude,
like, how's it any different than Hiei throwing the dragon at you? Hiei's like throwing this like energy at you. Yusuke does the same thing. He shoots this energy at you. He's pretty much like throwing a kamehameha at you.
and I wasn't even saying he's throwing Kamehameha at you. He was throwing like Vegeta's death beam.
Dude,
That's
he launched Toguro out of the stadium through like 100, maybe 1,000 trees and like pinned him in this cave.
I mean, he did that with a spirit gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like it's pretty strong attack.
so
You you
it's like
you're
Naruto.
getting all.
No, it's like Naruto's Rasengan. I don't care what you say. You're not Naruto Rasengan, definitely the strongest jutsu in the game. You're not telling me though that it is the best and coolest looking one when there's so many other jutsu that can beat the Rasengan. That's what that
Dude,
spirit
he
bomb is.
destroyed Kakazu, the Rasen Shuriken. That's kind of Yusuke's destroying everyone with his spirit gun.
Question. Would you rather have would you rather be able to use Naruto's Rasengan or Sasuke's Sharingan?
I'd rather be the Uchiha.
Exactly. But I mean, now imagine like instead of the spear bomb, you have fucking Mukuro's time space um cut slashing attack. Like there's really no contest which one you would rather have.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, would you rather have like Naruto's Rasengan or would you rather have like Shikamaru's Shadow Possession Jutsu?
Probably the Rasengan. I mean, the Shadow Possession's cool, but I feel like it only worked because it was Shikamaru doing it. You give that attack to like anybody else, they're gonna get destroyed.
What do you mean? His dad?
Yeah, I mean
His
like his family, the Nara family, they're all like really smart. But like let's say like Choji had that power, like Choji's getting destroyed. He's not going to be smart enough to utilize that attack.
I mean, no, no, look.
Whereas you give anybody the Rasengan, like they're that's like like anyone can like do this a strong attack. I just got to get near them and hit them. Whereas like the Shadow Possession, like you gotta like kind of be more strategic.
You have to be strategic though. If you drop two people in the ring, they know absolutely nothing of each other, and one has a wrestling gun, one has a shot of possession. There's no walls, nothing to hide in the middle of the ring, and it's a dome with the sun shining through it. You're telling me the Rasengan user is going to win?
I mean, that's a pretty OP attack, honestly.
If he's rushing forward and the dude has like the shadow possession, he just catches his shadow before the Rasengan gets to him.
Dang, they don't have this guy's name in here.
Who's?
The guy with all the pierce. Oh, here he is. Shigure, the dude that gave Hiei the Jagan eye.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he was a pretty decent guy.
Yeah, but Kurama beat him because he planted a seed thousands of years ago in that arena. He laid this trap thousands of years ago, and then this tree just like spawned during their fight.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. I mean, now would you rather have
Like I don't think Hiei's out there doing that. Kurama's like planning. He's like, dude, I'm gonna plant this seed here because it might help me thousands of years in the future.
no, it was probably like, hey, like, this might help me, a couple years in the future. And it just happened to be that long.
I'm surprised he even remembered that it was there. Like I definitely would have forgot about that shit.
Would you though? I feel like you'd remember certain things.
I mean, I like forget where I put stuff around the apartment. I'm not gonna remember like this specific plot of land. When Kurama, he had the most complex backstory. He probably covered the most land. He's like out running around Demon World, and then he has to like run away and becomes a human child. So now he's roaming around all of Earth. So he's covered a lot of like and he's gonna remember like this specific patch of dirt is where I planted this seed thousands of years ago.
I mean, think about it like this. It's like
I thought he might have had cooler attacks than Hiei. Definitely the first time I watched, I was all about Hiei and his darkness technique. I thought it was awesome, him shooting the dragon out. But the more I watched, like Kurama, I think Kurama had the coolest kill where he killed the elder Toguro. He trapped him in the sinning tree, and he's just like sitting there screaming and laughter, thinking he's slashing up Kurama for the rest of his
that was
life.
dope. That was definitely dope. I did like that. I was like, oh, I felt bad for him, but I
And he
thought that was one.
started off by slashing that other dude, because Elder Toguro was like hiding in that like big dude who like
Mm-hmm.
ate people. Yeah, he like slashed that dude's head off. That's how he like started the attack.
Yeah, I mean, they also made it kind of obvious that the elder Tagura brother was the next villain. Like he smacked him out of the stadium, and then you just didn't hear about him for like the next couple episodes. And then it was like, oh, there's a guy looking in the shadows, looking to take revenge on Yusuke and his crew. And I was like, it's pretty obvious who's trying to take revenge.
I
Yeah,
didn't
they
think
were,
it was obvious. The first I every time I watch, I like forget that he's alive, and I always thought the first time I watched it, I thought the younger Toguro, I thought he just like killed him with that punch.
really?
Yeah, because they kind of showed him like his body split apart, and then when you see him later on in the show, it's just his head in a tank. So
I thought
when he punches him, you see like blood go like everywhere. I thought he like exploded from the punch.
I did not. I just thought he like punched him so hard he just flew out of the stadium. I didn't even assume he was dead. It was just like
Well, you
wait till the.
saw him later on. He was just a head in a tank. Like his body exploded. I remember there was a lot of blood.
Oh, no, yeah. When I saw his head in the tank, I was wondering how he got like that because I was like, did he only like take a punch outside the stadium? So I was very surprised to see his head in the tank because
Yeah, if you watch that scene again, you'll see like his whole body like pretty much explodes from the
maybe that's
from.
why. It might be why I thought he survived. I did not notice his body exploded. I just saw him like get punched out of the stadium. Um, but I was like, okay, he definitely survived that. I'm gonna see him later on.
I mean, this show, I feel like the story is like not too deep. It's really just like a lot of tournament fighting. Like even the his first mission when he meets Genkai, they kind of have like a tournament. So
They did.
the show's kind of like a lot of tournaments. So we can I can just like ask your opinion on different characters. So what do you think of Genkai?
I did like Genkai. I would definitely say behind Kuwabara and Kurama. I mean, yeah, I would say Genkai's top five. I think she would be number five, but I think she's definitely top five. What do you got her at?
I definitely got the top three like Hiei, Kurama, Yusuke, and I don't. I like Yusuke a lot. He was my favorite the second time I watched it, just because the second time he fights Hiei, I was like all about Hiei, but then Yusuke just like calls him a bitch and punches him in the face and like almost knocks him out. I'm like, damn, dude.
I mean, now would you because of that would you now call he a better male?
No. I mean, he didn't like mop. It was really a draw.
I can see.
Yusuke won the first fight. They drew the second one. They never fought a third time. I would have liked to see maybe if Yusuke and Kurama got matched up in that the last tournament, because you never saw them fight each other. I don't know what that would have been like.
I think Yusuke would have lost.
Yeah, I feel like Kurama would just trap him in one of his crazy plants.
That'd be too much.
Yeah, so I definitely got those three. I do like Botan. I think she's funny.
I do like Botan too.
Uh, and then I don't know. I might just throw Keiko in there because she had such a big influence on everything going on.
Now I would definitely say mine is like Hiei, Kuwabara, Kurama, Yusuke.
I thought you would have Yusuke outside of your top five. I thought you were hating on him a little bit.
Oh no, no, no. You say he was a decent main character. He wasn't really annoying or anything. Yeah, then Genkai number five, and then finish it out with Keiko and Botan.
Uh,
I still use
what,
like Botan.
what do you think about Sakio? Like he got trillions of dollars and he's just trying to open up this like portal to Demon World. Like, would you be trying to do that if you had all that money?
I mean, he might as well find something to do. See. I don't know if I would do that just because I'm not into the whole idea of, hey, let me like create destruction when that destruction is obviously going to kill me too. I don't know what he expects these S class demons to do, but after they kind of destroy and take what's theirs and they want more, you can't stop them. I mean, if they decide to kill him, it's over with. So he was definitely like it was definitely a suicidal plan. Maybe not in the short term, but like there was no way that was going to end in a good way for him, anyways.
Yeah, I don't really know what he was trying to do either.
He was
I
trying to
did
convince.
I did think it was kind of funny how he masterminded that whole situation where he uh he was kind of bluffing with or he had Taguro like take a dive in that fight against Yusuke and Kuwabara at first just so he could get all that money.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, when he was gambling against a guy, I kind of felt bad for him, but he was clearly swindling my guy. Um, and he definitely after
Yeah,
the
and
second time, he should have been like, "Hey, look, you know what? I'm starting to sense a pattern here. Let me not bet for the rest of the matches."
well he was betting on Taguro, so he's like, "There's no way Taguro is gonna lose." Which if he did go all out in that moment, Yusuke and Kuwabara wouldn't have beat them.
I can say that. All
So
right, my question.
if they were trying Taguro, they would have destroyed them.
All right, so my thing is with the Taguro when he ended up going all out. Um, did he die because he went all out, or did he go all out and he just lost to Yusuke?
He
Because
just lost.
you must say he hardened and then he like cracked and basically broke after the fight. But I couldn't tell was that just because he went all out or did he? Because he didn't get hit by like a spear bomb or anything. It's like their attacks canceled out.
I mean, he absorbed all the damage. It didn't like make him fly out of the arena again, but I feel like he absorbed all the damage and then he just like disintegrated. So he could have stood there and disintegrated, but instead he like took a few steps forward and then disintegrated.
I mean, he had to make the best of his lasting seconds in life.
I think that happened with that ice guy that Hiei fought. Hiei, like when they were fighting the Saint Beast, Hiei like sliced him up a bunch, and then the dragon dude was like laughing at Hiei because he like froze his leg, and then he realized that he was all like sliced up in a bunch of places, and then he like crumbled.
That was pretty crazy. Like I did like Hiei's fights because it was like, oh, Hiei's not that strong, and he just ends it right then and there. I was
Oh,
like,
I always thought he was strong. I was kind of confused that he never like when he fought Yusuke that first time, he did that like transformation where he turned green and then had like a ton of eyeballs all over his body.
I
Yeah,
did forget about that.
yeah, he never did that again.
I mean, to be fair though, against maybe it might work on like lower level people, but against high level demons, that's just a liability. You're telling me you're I see a shit ton of eyes. It's obvious what's going to happen.
Just gonna
He
poke
used
one of
that
them.
ability, yeah, he used that ability once, realized what the weakness was, and it was a pretty great weakness.
He looked like that Yu-Gi-Oh card. There was like some Yu-Gi-Oh card that has like a ton of eyes all
I
over it.
vaguely remember that. I'm pretty sure I recognize if I saw the actual card.
Yeah, that was what it made me think of.
But I mean, I think overall though, it was a decent show. I think if I ever do rewatch it, it would probably just be the two main tournaments, um, the Dark World tournament and then like the Demon one. Uh,
I did like. I mean, definitely the build-up was weak, but I did like that fight against Sensui because I feel like he didn't even really beat him.
yeah,
Sensui was like kicking all four of them. He was like beating all their asses, and then Ryzen had to step in. which I don't even really know how he did that. Ryzen somehow like took control of Yusuke's body and beat him.
Yeah, that was.
And Sensui was equivalent to an S class demon, so he Sensui literally got beat by maybe the strongest guy in the show because Yusuke never even beat up Ryzen.
He didn't,
So
and it was
Sensui could have potentially lost to the strongest guy in the show.
maybe, but at the same time, it was just like, oh, his secret power was, yeah, I've been a detective for 10 years, so I've been doing what you've been doing longer. I was like, really? Your secret power?
He had the sacred energy and the sacred armor.
Maybe, but even then, he just still got like bitched out by
Even he his dragon thing, he was just like riding on it. And he's like, this is a good way to travel.
yeah, yeah. I don't agree with all that. I guess he was strong. Um it took Ryzen taking him down. My thing is like, how strong is Ryzen? Where this dude survived off not eating humans for thousands of years or 1,000 years, and he was still able to take control of Yusuke's body, come down, and put an ass whooping on this dude.
He's as strong as Yomi and Kuro because they all canceled each other out. I thought it was a cool dynamic that they made three of them, and then
Oh yeah.
they took like the three main characters and pitted them on opposite sides.
Hey, are you saying Kuwabara? They took three of the four main characters. My dude Kuwabara was a main character.
Kuwabara had no sense being in that conflict.
Put some respect on his name.
You think there could have been like a fourth guy, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna recruit Kuwabara.
Hey, he was a key to a master plan, so I'm not going to say it's not feasible. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
he,
mean that was his moment was that he was the one guy that was strong enough to cut through dimensions.
exactly, it is like, yo,
But
you want
that didn't win him any fights because he was like too slow to hit anybody with that attack.
he just had to get a little bit faster. He got to get a little bit of training with it, and he could have been dominant. But
I mean, he was definitely strong for a human. You ended up finding out that Yusuke like wasn't really human.
yeah, yeah, but like that was still like, I feel like kind of like a thrown in there. Um,
I think they made it work. I think the first time I watched it, I was like, "That's kind of random," but as I watched it again, I was like, he's fighting demons the whole time. Ryzen hooked up with a human, and then
oh, but yeah,
the that girl's offspring obviously like didn't have the gene. It was like dormant, and then it just kind of like revealed itself within Yusuke.
maybe. First off, on Ryzen, like, all right, they say he clearly hadn't ate a human in like 1,000 years, but yet he was still the same strength as the other two, the top three demons. They weren't like year 500. You know what? Ryzen isn't as strong as he was 500 years ago. He hasn't ate a human. You're telling me he had the same power level for the entire 1,000 years up until the point he died?
They
Unlikely story.
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying, but they also said there was like no point in fighting each other because as soon as two of them fight each other, by the end of the fight, they're both going to be like, whoever wins is going to be exhausted, and then the third guy's just going to come mop them.
True.
That's
But
how Yomi lost the tournament. They didn't even show his fight after Yusuke. They're like, Kurama's like, yeah, he lost to an insignificant opponent that he had no
this is losing
that
too.
yeah no reason to lose to. They didn't even show the fight.
That's true. But the thing is, though, is like after 900 years, one person should be able to take out the guy that hasn't eaten in 900 years and still have enough power left to possibly face the other guy. He should you lose such a significant amount of power. Now I could be wrong. Obviously, this dude Ryzen is still an S class demon. Um, I just feel like if the other two was like, you know what, we can both jump this guy. We'll fight each other afterwards. But he's obviously the easiest one to take out right now. Couldn't end a little different.
Yeah, but there
And
was no incentive for them to team up and take him out because then they would just be in a standstill anyways, or they would have to fight each other.
that's what I'm saying. They knew they were gonna have to fight each other. I guess the goal should be like, who is going to be the top two to fight in order to like getting control of the demons? Or they must have been completely fine with the standstill for 1,000 years. They're like, yeah, um,
I don't know if they
I
were fine with it. They just like it was like Kurama said. It's like if you put yourself in that position where you got to take one of them out, you're just going to be weak.
see
You're going to be
my
too
dude.
tired.
And I mean, I guess that's the difference between these guys and maybe say Goku. My dude Goku would have been like, you know what? Let me train for 1,000 years, and that way I'm twice as strong as both of them, and I can take on them both 2-on-1 if need be and still win. They were sitting there like, let
I
me.
feel like Goku doesn't pick fights though, so if there was a standstill like that, he would be content with the peace.
No, no, no. Goku picks fights. What do you mean? This dude picks fights over caring for his own son.
Yeah, but all his fights were like he had like Raditz comes down, he's gotta fight him. I didn't watch like Dragon Ball, but like I'm assuming like Piccolo's like wreaking havoc over the world. He's gotta stop Piccolo. Raditz comes down, he's gotta stop Raditz. He's on Namek. He's gotta like fight Frieza. They go there to get the Dragon Balls, but as soon as he figures out like the Ginyu Force and all, he's like, dude, these guys are evil. I gotta stop them. Then Cell, the androids and Cell come out. He's like, they're like destroying Earth. I gotta stop them.
What do you mean? This dude fought Cell and said, "Yeah, I think you're strong enough to face my son." Like this dude gave his son up on a silver platter for one of those fights. No, no, no. And
Goku
then
wasn't strong enough to beat Cell.
that doesn't mean you give your son up. He was like, you know what, fuck it.
Gohan was the only one strong enough to beat him, and he knew that. He's like, Gohan was stronger than him because he like mastered Super Saiyan 2, and then
you,
uh, Goku and Vegeta didn't master it because they weren't able to like balance the power with the speed. Gohan was the only one.
you do not act like you just know your teenage son can like take out
You,
this dude as
dude, you
strong enough.
trained with him in the hyperbolic time chamber for a year.
Look, but like let's not act like Vegeta was like, you know what? I'll let you grab the other two androids so I can fight you at full
It,
power.
if me and
He
you were in the hyperbolic time chamber playing basketball for a year, we would know who was stronger by the time we came out.
we would, but that does not mean I'd be like, yeah, I know Matt Strong. Let me send him up here to guard fucking LeBron James. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Now Cell is LeBron James, and Goku was like, yeah, you know what? Even though my kid is the best high school basketball player in the world, I'm gonna go put him up against prime LeBron James.
But
It doesn't.
if only one person could go against him, and your only options are you and someone that's better than you, you're gonna be like, all right, this guy's better. You got to go against him.
uh, okay, so wait.
Yeah,
You're
that's pretty much how it was. Goku's like Gohan is strong. Like he didn't know Gohan could beat him, but he was like Gohan's our best hope to beat him. And
all right.
he was even talking junk to Vegeta. I ended up going back and watching. It was like some recommended YouTube clip on because like I just watch random anime stuff on YouTube. So there was just like a 2 minute clip of like Vegeta telling Goku or something like to go back in the time chamber. He's like, I don't need to. He's like, maybe you should go in or something because he was just talking junk to Vegeta because he was stronger than him.
I do remember that exact line. But hold up. You're telling me let's imagine 40 we'll imagine 50-year-old Matt right now. You're 50 years old, right? And your son is 25, 26. You guys are just chilling watching basketball on your
I'd
couch.
have to have my child now if he was going to be
Oh, yeah,
25 when I'm 50.
this is an imaginary world. 25, you're 50. Mike Tussle busts down your door and say, "Hey,
You
look,
could just say he's 20 and then it doesn't have to be imaginary.
all right, he's 20 now. I can. He's 20. He's 20. He's 6'2", 250 pounds,
Well, dude, he's
and
way bigger than me. Then
he's definitely
yeah,
bigger
like
than
I put, he'd be younger than me too. I'd be 50.
yeah.
I might have
And
the
then
old man strength. I don't know. I don't know if that's a
oh,
real thing or not.
maybe you'll find out when you get there. But then Mike Tyson busts down your door and says, "Hey, look, I'm about to fight one of you guys here right now. You need to win, or I kill both of you guys." Are you gonna be like, "Hey, look, you
And
know
my
what?
my son's got like 100 pounds on me. I'd be like,
Let me
dude,
actually go wait. Your son's 15. My bad. Your son's 15. You're also 50.
I mean, if my son could go Super Saiyan and like was better at going Super Saiyan than I am,
Maybe better go Super Saiyan.
He was, dude. He mastered Super Saiyan 2 better than Goku did. And then
He
Goku
did.
knew Vegeta was weaker than him.
He did. He did.
He's like, Vegeta ain't saving the world. I can't. There wasn't one instance. There was one instance where Vegeta was the strongest character in the show. When they were fighting Cell in his second form.
Yes, I mean they should have gave my dude Vegeta more credit. They acted like he was
He was
all.
the strongest at that point. He because no one could beat Cell in his second form. I remember Tien was like doing his tri beam on him for like a few episodes, like keeping him in this hole. And then Vegeta came out here, kicked his ass, and then he's like, "Yo, let me absorb Android 18. I'll give you like a real fight." And
Yeah,
then and
this dude.
Vegeta just let him do it.
Vegeta
But
should not have lived.
Vegeta was the strongest at that moment. I think Piccolo was actually the strongest for a minute too, against the first form Cell because he went in the hyperbolic time chamber first, I think,
I think he did too.
and
Yeah,
then he came out and he was beating like the original Cell before he even absorbed anybody.
but didn't he observe like the Demon King Piccolo by that point?
Oh, he absorbed Kami. Yeah, yeah,
Kami.
yeah, that's how. Yeah, he was like the strongest when he did that.
I mean, yeah, you still got your characters and all that jazz, but I would not put my teenage son up against Cell, the dude that like was obliterating everybody, even if I thought he had a better chance. That's just me though. I'll be like, you know what, I gotta take one for the team, um, because if think about it like this: if Cell beats him down, it turns out he stood no chance. Now you just witness your son get beat down, and Cell's gonna come after you after that. Like there's no one else to fight but you. But if you go down first and you get beat down, at least everybody else has a chance after you take some of his power away.
I mean, we can tie it back to Yu Yu Hakusho. Uh, Instead of like Genkai just like fighting Taguro, she like put Yusuke up to fight him. Gave him
Yeah,
the orb.
that was
Gave
tough. I,
Yeah, he's just like exploding blood out of his body when he's like absorbing that orb.
yeah, I probably would have beat the shit out of her after the tournament. After that, I was like, bro, you telling me you had this beef with this guy from like when you guys were younger, and you just out here just like, fuck it, I'm gonna let you take on my beef and you can end it. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
Well, they did. It was separate. It was a separate beef. Like Taguro even said, like Genkai just happened to be involved. He didn't. He was just interested after he first saw Yusuke when he was working for that ugly dude.
Yeah,
I
but
don't remember his name. The ugly rich dude. Like he was like defending him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, the best quote in the show." Uh, he goes and he rips that beast in half, and he's like, "Oh, not that," but that one was funny too. He like only used like 30% of his strength or something. He like ripped that beast in half.
yeah, that was funny. When he was just like, oh, I'm only using 10%, or I'm only using 20%. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
using.
No, he fights that in the tournament. He fights that whole squad of five. Those giant warriors. He kills all four of them, and then that last dude, the big black dude, he has the axe, and
Mhm.
he's like fighting, and he's like, you are a strong warrior. You're right to be proud. He's like, I'll honor you with 45% of my strength, and then he completely destroys him.
Yeah. Okay, I'll admit those are funny though, but it just gave you like a little bit of scalability for his power, which I did like.
Yeah, I like recorded that video on my phone. I was like, this is so funny. There was
No,
a
no.
funny one that Sensui had. He said he said there's nothing worse than being strong but not strong enough, and that's what he's saying to like all three of them when they're fighting.
He did have some good gems and quotes throughout the show.
Yeah,
I should have wrote some of my favorite ones down, but that one was really
yeah.
good.
I had another one because I always like I really like how I always watch it. At the end of the show, they like give you like a heads up for what the next episode is going to be, and they
Mhm.
always have different people narrating it. I like how they have like sometimes they'll have like Kurama narrating
Oh,
it. Sometimes they even had like Shizuru narrate one. They've had Genkai and narrate some Botan. Like they
mhm.
just have all the different characters. But Kurama had one. I don't remember what he was talking about, but he was just giving like the recap or the like what to expect next on the next week's episode, and he just
Mhm.
said, "Regret is a different beast when you live for centuries," and I just thought that was funny.
Ooh, I mean, that's pretty good. Maybe that's how he remembers where he planted the seed at. He would always regret forgetting it. Be living for centuries.
It's on episode 82, whatever that was, but that was pretty funny.
I can dig that one. Um, but I would say all in all, it was definitely a decent show. Um,
It's probably
not
my favorite just because I think it had the best fights out of any anime I've seen.
I think it's debatable. I still like my Naruto fights.
Yeah,
Um,
Naruto's definitely got some good fights. I was just I was actually able to finish Yu Yu Hakusho out. I wasn't able to finish Naruto out.
that is, oh, but Naruto does have 4 times the amount of episodes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they had to like have bad ones.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but it's just that like they are more likely to have bad ones though with the extended show. And it was really only the ending was really the only bad part was the ending. But I can't believe how many Boruto episodes they have out.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to get into that.
Shouldn't. But either way, Naruto had like 4 times as many episodes, so of course they might have like a few bad ones. It was just a
I
bad
think it
arc.
had way. If you take it like percentage wise, I think it had way more bad episodes because there was a lot of boring filler. There's a lot of like terrible filler.
I'll give it that one. I would definitely say like when you look at the entirety of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, you'd be surprised at how many bad episodes there were and how much filler it actually had.
So much. Whereas I feel like this show didn't really have, maybe had some bad ones like in that Sensui arc, like that
Hmm.
one where Kurama was like playing that word game with that other smartest guy in his class.
I like those episodes. I like that episode.
Oh, which one did you like then? Because you said you weren't that into that arc.
I mean, I would definitely say that was the top or like that was the climax for me. I didn't really like the riddle game where he was like, yeah, one of these dudes are fake. Um, and what was the wasn't there 3 rooms or was there only two?
There was one where they were like walking up the stairs or something. There was a bunch of like trap doors.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one either. So it was really only the word game that was like, okay, that was pretty nice because I guess he knew since he knew the guy previously from the school.
Yeah, and he just made a ridiculous face. You never even saw what face he made, but he must have
Yeah,
made it pretty funny.
I was wondering about that. I was like, are they gonna actually show a face he made, or are they just gonna leave it like secret in the show?
No,
And
they just gotta you gotta imagine the funniest face, and that's Kurama made a face even funnier than that.
they should have just gave us a face. That's like with a Naruto. They had like,
What
um,
if they gave us a face and it like was dumb and you're just really like that's stupid. They just like left it up to your imagination. You gotta just imagine the funniest thing, and that's what he did.
I think for me though, wrapping it back to Yu Yu Hakushow, I would put it in that 25 to 35 range for me.
What do you mean?
For the on the list of anime that I've seen, it'd be like the 25 to
Oh, I thought I was like out of 100. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, my bad. I forgot to contextualize it, but I would give it like 7.5 for me.
I did like that. Just to like go back to some characters we didn't talk about. I did like that first demon he fought, Rando.
Oh, he was pretty cool.
I have no idea how strong that guy was because the only reason Yusuke beat him is because his ears were like had algae in it, and like that guy did that attack and shrunk himself.
Yeah,
So I have no idea how strong that guy really was.
that's true. But at the same time, I mean, he plot device. He should not have won. He had algae in his ears and he couldn't hear him. Come on now.
He destroyed Kuwabara, dude. He was like just ripping his, like breaking his every bone in his body.
Yeah, they didn't have to do my dude Kuwabara like that either.
They did. They had to show you how weak he was.
No. They're like, you know what? Let's make them feel bad. I'm sitting here. I think that it was pretty obvious that it took me two tries in order to figure out which guy that dude Rando was. Um, my first guess was like they was gonna mind fuck me and it was gonna be Genkai. So, but my second guess was the Rando guy.
Yeah, and like as soon as you, I think the most obvious part was when, they're all fighting in the dark, and then
Yeah.
you like he like comes back in like 2 seconds, and he's like, "Oh, that was really tough," and like I was like, "Nah, you just like whooped that guy's ass. You came back in like 3 seconds."
Yeah, I was like, yo, that did not add up to what actually happened when he came out there like that.
Yeah,
I was That's definitely the guy.
yeah. There was a lot of cool character show in the show. We didn't really talk about Quenma at all, and then the blue ogre. Like they had like a lot of comedy relief in the show. I feel like.
Yeah, they were the bottom characters for me. Didn't really.
Yeah, I just thought they were funny. Like they're bickering, they're dynamic. They had that Koto girl. She was like announcing all the tournaments. The Fox girl.
Oh yeah,
They had Chu and Jen. They were funny characters. Chu was just like drinking a lot.
I liked Kuwabara's sister. She was pretty funny.
Uh, I did think that one guy that could like open up portals was cool. The guy that was just like spooning with Sensui at the end. He like took his dead body into the void.
That's kind of weird, but he was a pretty cool guy too.
I did think it was funny how Yomi just like beat his son's ass and then like told him to surrender, and then he was like, "If you don't surrender, you're gonna die a meaningless death."
Yeah, he was just trying to prepare his kid. Like, hey, look, I thought it was pretty crazy how after thousands of years, the dude all of a sudden was like, yeah, I'm gonna create me a son to put in the tournament. I was sitting there like, that's why you want a son. But he showed him some tough love. It worked out in the end, and he didn't kill his son for no reason.
He gave him plenty of warning. I feel like if he did have to kill him, like he told him, like, "Yo, like you're fighting a stronger opponent. Like you're not gonna win. I'm not gonna let you win, and I'm trying to teach you a lesson. Like and then he pretty much told him he's like you can surrender now or if you're going to fight to the death this is what your life got you, this is what you accomplished nothing in your life, so if you want to go out if you want to go out right now."
I mean, it's true. He could have knocked him out and was like, let me take him, put him in bed, give him some warm milk. Be a caring father.
Nah, he told him he's like if you want to die a fool's death, I'll let you, but I didn't think my son was that dumb. He's like,
His son didn't understand the ramification. He's out here being a competitor like his father, who didn't even give up after 1,000 years to like attack a dude for the throne. So it's like, I mean, you reap what you sow out here.
uh there was Rinku, he had all the yo-yos,
You did.
and Toya like could freeze people. That's pretty much it. I guess Kuwabara's sister was always beating his ass. I think that's pretty much all the characters that matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a scene where one of Yusuke's like teachers like punched him in the face.
Really? I really
I
remember
feel,
that.
and then there was all the bald monks. They were kind of cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wait, I do remember him punching him in the face at the very beginning.
And then he was like, "What? You gonna punch a teacher?"
Yeah, he's like, hey, less. That was funny. The comedy at the beginning was pretty good.
And it was really just those first 5 episodes that were slow. I thought it was more than that.
It did too, but it picked up like when I got around episode, you
Six.
know, well, well
Episode
six.
six. Six is when he runs into the forest and fights that guy who was like stealing children's souls. He had the Orb of Bosk or whatever it's called.
Let's say yeah. So I did see that episode. I remember seeing that one. Episode 7 is when I really didn't recognize it. I was like, okay, I did not get that far in it, anyways.
Word. Well, I'd give Yu Yu Hakusho probably. I mean, I said it's my favorite, so I guess I got to give it a 10. But it's really just a 10 because I think Yusuke is really funny. He's like
These
the only
guys.
protagonist out here that I know that's like calling people bitches and smacking them around. And
There's a little
I,
bit of that in Titan.
I think he's I think it also just has the best fights. I would say it has better fights than Naruto.
I can see that. I disagree with having the better fights, but I can see how someone could see that they may have.
Well, I don't know what other anime is up there with it. I think it has better fights than Dragon Ball Z.
I don't think so.
I do because I feel like Dragon Ball Z they charge up too much.
I like that charge number. When I want to see that Kamehameha times 10, I want to see that all that work you put into it. But when I hear Bob coming towards
I
Earth,
was so bored watching the him fight Kid Buu and just do that spirit bomb for like 5 episodes or whatever the hell it was. I got really bored.
drag it up. But they gave my dude Vegeta a little bit of screen time.
I like Hiei over Vegeta.
I don't know about
I like Yusuke over Goku. Definitely like Yusuke over Naruto. Like Naruto's kind of annoying.
Naruto is kind of annoying, but he's definitely a lot better throughout Shippuden. I do like his character development.
I haven't seen Bleach. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all these like
Yeah.
popular animes to compare
Mm.
it to.
I mean, I'm trying to think of.
But I think the fighting is a 10. I think the show is probably a 10. We did talk about how there's were some like plot lines that weren't as interesting, but I feel like it always picks it back up. I feel like it ended strong. That tournament at the end was cool. The Dark Tournament is the longest part of the show. I think it runs like 40 episodes, and that's probably the coolest part. So the bulk of the show is cool, not too many boring parts. So
I think overall it is a decent show. And it did have really good ending, which I liked, and really no cliffhangers. So a very good anime for the time period that it was built into.
shout out to Botom. We didn't talk about her much, but she was funny.
She was good. She was a good side character. I did like her.
So what are we gonna watch next? You said you had a show that was like comparable to Yu Yu Hakusho, or it made you think uh, when you watched
Yes.
Yu Yu Hakusho, it made you think of this other anime. So
And the good thing is you mentioned it, so it was like already taken care of.
how I mentioned it.
Did mention it.
What is it? You didn't tell me what it was.
Yes. So the next show we'll be watching is going to be Bleach. We're going to be dividing. It's so many episodes. We're just going to be dividing it up into sections. So maybe an
How many
episode for
how many
what?
episodes is it?
Oh, it's 366.
Damn, dude. So do you want to
Yeah,
watch? Do you want to watch all like we can cut this part out, but do you want to? We'll just watch. We'll wrap it up. All right. So you said we're gonna be watching Bleach next.
we're watching Bleach next. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes about Bleach.
Anime Bros out.
Peace. Maybe they did that with Sasuke. I'm not Sasuke. They did that with Kakashi. We didn't actually get to see his what was underneath his face covering.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I I like stuff like that.
but they ended up giving us Kakashi's actual face, and everyone was satisfied with it.
I don't know if I remember that. I might have to look it up.
I think you would have gotten to it because it was
I
at the.
I I'm bad I got to it, but it just wasn't very memorable.
I mean, did you watch the end of Naruto Shippuden?
I ended up watching it on YouTube
I was
because
gonna say it was. Oh, go ahead.
I couldn't get past the Infinite Tsukunomi stuff, all the
So
dreams,
yeah, it was past that. It's like
and then all the Kaguya fight. Like I thought that was a boring fight too.
so it would it I think it took place in one of the episodes leading up to Naruto's wedding. So if you watch that arc,
Oh no, I didn't even see that.
oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was one of the filler episodes near the end of the show, I believe, and it showed you Kakashi's like actual face. Or wait, yeah,
I know they showed his dad's face.
wait, hold up. Now that I remember though, maybe that was Boruto, because I think
It was the
no,
most
that was
disappointing show. I think when we had Matt on as a guest, he said it best. He was so disappointed that he wished they never even made it. I kind of feel that way.
yeah, yeah, but people like Boruto. It's a chance for them to make more money.
People like Dragon Ball Super.
Like Dragon Ball Super.
People like I'm sure people like the second Berserk season. I'm sure there's someone out there that like that.
Hey, I guess there was a reason why it was made.
There's people out there that like Gantz.
To
There's
be
people that
fair,
out there.
with Berserk, a second season should have been made. It's just that season was made horribly. A little bit
Yeah, I
different.
agree. I actually would be down to watch Berserk soon, the first one. There's people that like. I was watching YouTube videos. There's this guy named Jimmy
Jimmy's.
Zhang. He's kind of like RDC. He like has like a bunch of anime videos.
Uh,
Uh, but he went around like interviewing a bunch of people, and like someone said their favorite show was Darling in the Franxx. So like there's that person out there. Like I don't know how that's your favorite anime, but that person's out there. So there's people that like some questionable stuff. Maybe they think I like questionable stuff, but
hey, school. Hey, school days. School days. I like school days. You know.
I didn't. It just made me really uncomfortable.
I think there's nothing wrong.
Because I wish I could like pull up the audio. There was like this very creepy music going on in the background when uh Makoto Mato I don't remember the guy's name.
I think it was Makoto.
I don't think that's what it was. I think that's close to what it was, but I don't think that's what it was. But yeah, he starts kissing Katsura in front of the other girl. I don't remember her name.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah, when she's like I'm pregnant, and then he just starts like making out with the other girl, and then they play this really creepy music, and I was like, dang, dude, that is the,
kind of
like
cooking.
darkest thing you could do.
His name was Makoto. Also, it was Makoto Ito.
Okay, yeah,
But yeah,
it was just like the darkest thing I think I've ever seen. She's like, hey, like you gotta help me like raise your son, and he just like didn't even acknowledge her talking, and just like started making out with the other girl who's like pretty much a zombie.
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, and he did what he had to do. I thought he was right
I
there.
thought I don't remember her name, but I thought it was definitely appropriate when you guys
Coach,
should check out our other episodes before you watch these ones because we like she just stabbed him. I'm gonna spoil the show for you. She just stabbed him.
how you gonna spoil the show? If they wouldn't even have had enough time to check out the other episode after you said that.
That ain't right.
I was just saying like, hey, I wasn't gonna say like stop right there, go back watch the other show. I'm saying like, hey, you should have watched our other episodes for the show. This is what happens when you don't.
Hey, I guess they you ruin their lives by spoiling the show before they actually get to it. Sad day.
Maybe I can cut this out.
Hey, leave it in there. Put the blooper at the end of the show.
Yeah, I'll put it at the end.
But I was about to say. Oh yeah, no.
I'll put up the heading like spoiler, and if they just ignore that, then that's what they get.
All right, I got you. That actually work. Actually, that'll work pretty well.